welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott.
You have an empowering and liberating story. How did you transition from corporate attorney to professional burlesque dancer?
It's a crazy story, and it was one that I didn't anticipate and I didn't see coming. The reason that I went to law school was because I was really passionate about justice. I was really passionate about being fair and addressing abuses of power. Throughout my life, personally and professionally, I would always notice those abuses of power, and it would just frustrate me so much that somebody shouldn't do that. They shouldn't be able to get by with it, and that there would be no recourse, and it would just really frustrate me. And that's why I thought, oh, being a lawyer, I can combat this. I can really help make it fair for people. Well, I learned pretty early on that no, I can't, that you can't always use the system to address problems, that most of the time it was an internal state. It was an internal thing that we needed to address from a place of truth, not from a place of vindication. And I'm sure you're still thinking, what does that have to do with being a burlesque dancer? What that has to do with being a burlesque dancer is so many of us wear masks. We wear costumes. We play roles. And although it seems appropriate, and though it is appropriate in many instances to play a certain role or to wear a certain mask, it covers who we are. And then we're living our life from a place of posturing, from a place of inhibition, and it doesn't give others the opportunity to connect with us authentically. Burlesque is kind of the physical manifestation of that emotional state. It's saying, I am brave enough to take off my mask, to take off this cover, and to show you who I am. And to be present enough in myself to know that it doesn't matter if I'm 10 pounds up. It doesn't matter if I have stretch marks. It doesn't matter if I'm 51. It doesn't matter. This is who I am. And when I can stand in my truth and show you who I am and be comfortable in that, oh my goodness, that's where magic happens. That's where a lot of growth takes place. And since we are physical beings, to have that happen in the physical is incredibly powerful, and it transcends into the emotional. So that's how that journey evolved.
And I love your story about getting the call to join the burlesque group, the traveling group, but you didn't think that your body was ready and the home life wasn't ready with
Nope.
scheduling. So why do women feel they need to fix themselves before they can have self-worth?
Great question. I think men and women both feel like they have to fix themselves, but I think for women, it's a little bit more. Growing up, we're always taught to chase the gold star. You know, even if you get a 6 out of 10 on your spelling, let's try a little harder next week. Let's go for 8 out of 10. No matter what we do, people lovingly encourage us to go for more. If you lose weight, how much more are you going to lose? Now are you going to tone up? There's always that something more that we're being pushed to do. And typically we internalize it. And I think women as a nurturer, we have been culturally conditioned to please other people a bit more than men have. We think we have to do more to get paid an equal amount. We have to prove that we're as dedicated to our career as men are, even though we're a mom, where men don't have that last little hurdle to overcome. So that's why I speak to women a little bit more. We're always being encouraged, which is great, but we internalize that encouragement as something's wrong. You're not quite good enough. I think you can do more. I think you can do better. And then, since we're not connected to our worth, since we don't know inherently that we're beautiful, we're kind, we're smart, we're capable, we think it's outside of us. And if I only lose 5 more pounds, then I'll be lovable. If I only get that perfect relationship, then I'll be happy. If I only. And then life becomes this series of delaying happiness and meaningless accomplishments that don't mean anything to us inside.
Great point. I'd love to hear more about this concept of unconditionally accepting the negative. It's such a profound and brave viewpoint.
It's so hard to do. First off, I don't think that anything in the world is inherently positive or negative. Things just are. It's the meaning and the interpretation that we give those things that makes them positive or negative. And that can be such a trite little saying, oh yeah, nothing's positive or negative. And then when push comes to shove, we get sucked into the victim story. Even when we are quote unquote victimized, even when we lose money, even when whatever happens, it is still just a thing. It's not a positive or a negative thing. It's what we make of it, what we become because of it. And we have to accept that we really have no control in this life. Other people do their own things. We can coerce, we can ask, but we can't make another person do something ever. Look at the virus right now. We can't control it. We can't control anything except our thoughts and our reactions. We can't even really control our feelings. And it's hard to control our thoughts. So when we accept that life isn't going to be the way we think it should be, and we choose our response and we choose our story because of it, it does put us in the driver's seat. I like to say it's taking the lead in the dance of life. It is a dance. You will get tripped up. Are you going to lead and at least guide, or are you just going to fall down and cry?
So, in the example of someone who wants to lose some weight and get more in shape, accepting that negative part of yourself at the outset before you have to go through the work, I'm just curious about what does that do to the person? Because usually you would say, well, you've got to do that work and then you can feel good. So what does it do when you accept that, but you're still going to work hard to achieve it?
Yes. It's the analogy that I like to use is it's the dot on your GPS. You have to accept where you're at and you have to know where you're going. I teach yoga. I teach pretty advanced yoga. There's a lot of difficult poses. It doesn't matter if it's weightlifting, piano playing, yoga, or whatever. You have to accept where you are at so you can take the steps necessary to build the strength to get to the next level. If I lie to myself and say, absolutely, I'm strong enough to do headstands, I can totally do that. And then I just throw myself into a headstand, I'm going to fall, I'm going to get injured, I'm going to get frustrated. I will not have the right coaches and the right support around me because they will say, but you told me you could do headstands.
Right.
Whereas if I accept exactly where I'm at, I have no flexibility, I have no strength, and I can't do any of that, then people around me can coach me from a place of authenticity. All right, let's start with this. Let's start with that. And then I'm happier along the way because I'm seeing my progress. And going back to your weight loss example, that's what is so, I think that's the number one reason that people fail with weight loss is they have this story in their head that they eat better than they do, that they work out for longer and harder than they do, and that really they don't need to lose that much weight. They just need a tiny tweak. And then they take action that is not supportive of their true goals. And then when they don't get there, they're like, this is stupid. This is so dumb. I've got a thyroid problem. It's not me. And they quit because they're not being honest.
You tell your clients to get naked. What is naked self-worth?
Naked self-worth is different than self-esteem or plain self-worth. And yes, I love saying get naked around that because again, that's that authentic piece. I believe that we are all worthy beings for who we are inside. When you have self-worth, oftentimes it's because I look a certain way, because I look young for my age, because I'm really fit and can do great back bends and headstands, because I have this position, because I drive this great car, because my kids are in the best college, because I've been in my relationship for how many years. We have this self-worth built around the external of who we are instead of the internal of who we are. And when it's naked self-worth, it means I feel and accept myself as completely worthy, even when I've lost a job, even when I'm up 20 pounds, even when my relationship crumbles, even when I'm 80 years old and I have wrinkles. It's that internal knowing that who you are is good enough. And one of the ways to test that is if you've ever been in a circumstance where you go out and you're feeling really good about something and everybody's telling you, this is great, you've done such a great job. And then one person tells you something, well, that's stupid. You wore that? And your self-esteem goes bam. And instead of believing all 20 people that said it was great, you believe the one person who said it was wrong. And that is a classic example of a lack of naked self-worth.
So what happens when we are at peace with our naked self-worth?
When we're at peace, a lot of things happen. First off, because we're naked, we're able to form much more authentic connections with other people because we know who we are. We're in our own integrity. They can align with us or not align with us. I don't like talking about rejecting or repelling people, but the fact is there are people that are not fun sometimes that we don't want in our lives. There's the energy vampires, there's the users, the abusers, the narcissists, whatever. And when we're in an authentic state, we tend to not have those people in our life anymore because they know they can't get anything from us. We're just solid and we attract other solid people. So our relationships get better. We also become more successful in our careers. Again, because we have very solid boundaries around who am I and what do I want and what am I willing to do? And then with ourselves, we have a lot more enthusiasm for life because we know it's fine and it's fun. And since we're choosing how to show up and how to be, we have enthusiasm, we have joy, we have peace. And no longer do we start worrying about things like, oh, I hope my house is clean enough. Well, I can't wear this. Well, what am I going to do? All those little head games and wasted time and wasted energy, they go away. And we can start focusing on joy and fun and connection and creativity and things that nourish and nurture us.
I found that with authenticity, it seems to speed things up as well, because sometimes you'll be talking with someone and maybe you don't really care if they're, going to like you or not. And you might say something a tiny bit more edgy, not to be, like obnoxious, but you don't care if it happens and they like it, then it's like, there's a big connection. But if not, you find out quicker.
Right. And then it's okay. It's totally
Right.
okay. It's like with me and with my book. My book is, drop your cover and reveal your smart, sexy, and spiritual self. Women, there's such a threat around being sexy. And women won't say, I feel sexy today, especially in a professional environment. And women go overboard to not look sexy and to not feel sexy. It's not a bad word. It can be inappropriately used when other people judge you. But when you're hiding that, then it becomes this covert, weird thing. And I am a firm believer that pretty much nothing should be taboo. We should be comfortable talking about mental illness. We should be comfortable talking about infidelity. We should be comfortable talking about abuse. We should be comfortable talking about all of these uncomfortable things because it shows us that we're all human and we can connect. And yes, it speeds things up because then all of a sudden we know who can stand in an uncomfortable moment, who can be in their power, and who can be shoulder to shoulder with us moving forward during the hard times instead of glossing the smile over it and being like, no, it's fine. It's all good.
Right. There's a lot of excitement about your new book, Flaunt It. What are the 5 steps we need to know to flaunt it?
Flaunt is an acronym. And these 5 steps give you that naked self-worth that I was talking about. The 5 steps are F, find your fetish. Finding your fetish means finding that thing that you do not to impress others, not to get better at something, but just for fun. When you're a kid, you play, and you play for the sake of play. And as adults, most of us lose that. We take care of the dog, we take care of our job, we take care of the yard, we take care of this, and we do all of our shoulds. Finding your fetish is about reconnecting with the things that bring you joy, whether it's macrame or painting or walking, and just doing it. L is laugh out loud. Laughter is definitely underrated, but laughter is very physically cathartic, it's emotionally beneficial, and it's healing. And we need to intentionally, especially in hard times, intentionally seek out things that make us laugh. It elevates the energy, it purifies, it makes us and people around us feel better. AU is the golden center of flaunt, and that's accept unconditionally. And that's what I was talking about before around all of that acceptance. We absolutely need to accept who we are, our shadow, and our good parts. And we need to accept other people. Everybody's got a shadow too. We can't find that perfect person. They don't exist. Accept, whether it's your coworkers, your employees, your friends, your family, accept their limitations as well as their strengths. N is navigate the negative. And like I said before, I don't really believe anything is positive or negative, but I do believe we need to navigate. And I do believe there's obstacles in our path. How do we go around that and navigate it? Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about, I was victimized, I was abused, I lost this, yes, I'm sorry, that stinks. And now what are we going to do about it? Let's feel that emotion, but navigate. And then the last step is the most important. That is trust in your truth. We all have our own internal sense of integrity and truth, and nobody else can tell us who we are. It's essential that we uncover, like in burlesque, strip down, figure out who we are in our hearts, in our soul, what is meaningful to us, and above all else, trust what's going on internally. We know the answer. Of course we can talk to people. Of course we can seek external guidance, but trust in our truth.
That's awesome. I know you serve mostly women, but what should men take from your book?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I serve mostly women. However, the journey is the same for men and women. Men too, I really encourage them to look at their masks. How often as a man are you told to walk it off? Are you told big boys don't cry? Are you told not to show your emotion because you don't want to be a sissy? Oh my goodness, men are just as masked as women, but in a different way. Men can flaunt as well, and men should flaunt as well. If a man feels like doing something that is quote unquote more feminine and it's his authentic self, lean into that. The more we lean into who we authentically are, the more we can break down stereotypes and judgments. That's why I am very upfront leaning in to the idea of burlesque. People think burlesque dancers, first of all, they think they're strippers, and that's not true. But even if it were true, people think you can't dance and be sexy and be a lawyer and I'm an ordained minister. People think you can't be all of that because of a stereotype, and that's not true. So for any man out there, as well as for any woman, I encourage you to lean in to those stereotypes. Lean in to who you authentically are. Not to like shove it in somebody's face and be obnoxious, but because it's you. And the more we flaunt who we are, the more we'll start seeing as a world, as a culture, as a people, we're vastly different. And there is no one norm for how a man or a woman should be.
Beautiful. For some reason, I think of the dance by Madeline Kahn in the movie Blazing Saddles when she sings that song, I'm Tired. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Have you seen that video?
I haven't. It's been years, but oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes.
I guess for me, it portrays the power and that she didn't care and she's strutting, down the stage and she's yelling at the guys and she's, really has come into her power, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Because our power lies right there at the edge of judgment.
Hmm.
If I'm constantly being afraid of being judged, I'm constantly holding back. And it's not that we don't care. Of course we care. It's just that we care about our own truth more.
How do we bring about some of these things that might be covered up because of stereotypes or how people think in the work setting without, you don't want to be inappropriate, you don't want to have things that people could hold against you?
That is such a great question. And it is difficult. I believe it really needs to be broached slowly. I think day in, day out, a week at a time, we can just start stepping into our authentic selves a little bit more. And I also think it's important the language that we use around it. Always being able to use the language I am feeling, I am experiencing. This is important to me. So we're not putting it on other people. I also think it's important to use some of the language. If this makes you uncomfortable, you may step away. I am feeling very emotional right now. I'm feeling very passionate and very on edge. If you are feeling uncomfortable with my emotions, feel free to step away. But right now, I am in a space where I need to feel this and I need to move this. And putting words to things so people understand that it's not about them, it's about you.
I love I can tell that you love language and you have mastery of what language can do. Even with your website, lauracheadle.com, you describe yourself as the purveyor of sparkle.
Yes.
You also said that all facets of a gem must be exposed to sparkle. So that idea of all these things that are covering up our joy, and a lot of times we don't even realize it. So it's taking that time to stop and look inward, because there's so much you look back for the whole month and you didn't even realize whatever trend was going on that wasn't serving you.
Right.
Beautiful. What, besides your occupation, what are some of the other hats you wear?
Oh my goodness, I wear so many hats. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two boys in college. And let me tell you, motherhood is a huge passion for me. I love kids. I've loved kids of all ages. It's so much fun having them in college right now. And nothing makes me happier than when they come home with their girlfriends and I get to mother four kids instead of just two.
Hmm.
I'm also a fur mom. I've got a dog. I've got a brand new kitten. I love the nurturing aspect of caretaking. Um, I am a wife. I've got a very interesting journey around that. We're about to celebrate our 25th anniversary next week. I'm an
Congratulations.
Thank you. I am an only child, so I'm very close to both of my parents. And most of my friendships are very long term. I'm still best friends with my best friend from junior high school. So I wear a lot of different hats in the friendship realm as well.
And it sounds like you really embrace the different stages of being a parent as well, with, because you always hear people saying, well, this, I wish they were 2 years old again, but like we say, you have to embrace, now they're at college, now you have a whole new set of things that you can enjoy.
Oh, yeah. And it's fun. It's so fun to watch them blossom.
Hmm. What's a hobby that you enjoy that most people may be surprised about?
Besides burlesque.
Usually I talk with the investment bankers and so.
Exactly. I've got several hobbies. First of all, I love choreographing. I run a dance troupe called the Flaunt Follies, and we are basically an adult pom squad for women of all ages and sizes and abilities because I love music and I love dance and I love putting together that drill team type thing. Another huge hobby I have that seems antiquated at this point, but it's not, scrapbooking photos.
Hmm.
I still love the physical photo albums and cutting out photos and doing all that. I love scrapbooking, and everybody's gone digital, but I'm like, oh, no, give me my scrapbook and let me have fun with that.
Hmm. Well, it sounds like you are fun. If we were stuck on a desert island, I think you would be the one that going, hey, let's do something fun here.
Yes, absolutely.
You said something on your website that caught my attention. If your dream came true today, would you be ready? Tell us more about that.
Oh my goodness. So much of us spend time saying we want something, but we haven't done that internal work around receiving and accepting that.
Hmm.
And receiving is really difficult because in order to receive something, we have to believe that we're worthy. And, you hear all those stories about people winning the lottery and spending all the money within the first couple, weeks or years or whatever. And it's a worthiness thing. If you really say you want something, it's important to, again, look within and say, yes, I accept that and I receive it because I am good enough and I can handle this and I do deserve it, and be willing to make the shifts in your life to accommodate that. And again, there's so many different layers, whether it's friendships and the groups that we run with. Sometimes we lock into a group of people whose only connection is complaining about something, or whose only connection is the fact that we don't have it. And then we have this psychological drive that we want to stay with our group of friends, so we can't have that either. If none of us can afford it, if none of us are successful, and then suddenly I am, it makes us other.
Hmm.
And the mind always wants to be accepted and not to be other. So part of that getting ready is being willing and knowledgeable in the fact that other people are there. And if you choose to maintain some connections, they will still maintain a connection with you, and you can be the leader and maybe even pull them all up, but be ready inside.
Hmm. Before my last question, where can our listeners go for more information about you and how to get your book?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you on my book. That would be great. My book is on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, IndieBound. You can get an autographed copy through my website. And my book is called Flaunt, Drop Your Cover and Reveal Your Smart, Sexy, and Spiritual Self. And yes, it's a great read for men and women.
Mm-hmm.
My website is Lora, and that's Lora, Cheadle, Cheadle.com. And if you want to get a copy of the top 20 things that block your sparkle and what to do about them, go to nakedselfworth.com and put in your name and website or name and email, and I will send you a copy of that. And that is a great place to start and to learn more.
And you do coaching and retreats, right?
I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching. I did do retreats, but right now with COVID, I'm not doing retreats. But I've got some great virtual stuff. And even in October, I've got a month-long virtual burlesque class on that emotional stripping down.
Awesome. What's one powerful action our listeners can take to help them live a more joyful, productive, and fulfilling life?
One positive action. I think it starts with that F, find your fetish. I think every day waking up and choosing one thing to do that is going to be fun. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can be, I mentioned my kitten. It can be, I'm going to play with my kitten today. It's, I'm going to turn on a song and dance because I love dancing. It can be, I'm going to go plant something or weed something, call a friend, go to a bookstore, read a chapter in a book. When you choose one thing, when you wake up, you look forward to that. There's excitement, there's anticipation. So every single day, put in one thing that is fun, frivolous, enjoyable, just for you.
I think people are going to listen to this episode a bunch of times because there's so much here to benefit from.
Thank you. I hope so.
Well, Laura, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Scott. I thoroughly enjoyed my morning.
Good. Welcome to the All the Hats We Wear podcast. This show will help you learn the time management skills you need to be joyful, productive, and fulfilled. Woohoo, everyone! It's time to get naked. Yeah, I said it. Today's guest is going to teach us the value of naked self-worth. Lora Cheadle is a transformational thought leader and media personality who empowers women to find and express themselves fully so they can gracefully take the lead in the dance of life despite any external circumstances. With a unique combination of intellect, humor, and emotional depth, she encourages women to shed the labels, roles, and scripts that no longer suit them and to embody all facets of who they are and in everything that they do. Named an Exceptional Woman of Excellence by the Woman Economic Forum, she is beloved for her ability to cut through confusion and catalyze lasting change in a playful manner. Her book was the #1 bestseller in Denver, and she is the host of the top-rated radio show, Flaunt. Build your dreams, live your sparkle. Also, she has an exciting book out called Flaunt. Drop your cover and reveal your smart, sexy, and spiritual self. You're meant to do great things. If you want to be an innovator and visionary, you have to manage your busy life like one. The All the Hats We Wear planner is the planner for the future. I want to give you a free month of the planner to try out for yourself. Nothing will slip through the cracks anymore. When you use the All the Hats We Wear planner, you'll have everything you need at your fingertips. All of your goals, a vision statement, a list of daily habits, and a checklist to track your progress. Key information for the small and large projects on your plate. Daily sheets to clarify your top outcomes for each day, a week at a glance section to plan for the coming weeks, and much more. The All the Hats We Wear planner will be your roadmap to a more joyful, productive, and fulfilling life. To claim your free month so you can see for yourself how it will streamline your busy life, visit allthehatswewear.com.